And also, she's just a joy. She's just like really lovely to be around.
The love is in the room. I love that.
Absolutely.
Hi everyone, I'm Melissa. Welcome back to Out There. Part of this year's Tribeca Film Festival is a must-see documentary, Your Fat Friend.
Not curvy or chubby or chunky or fluffy or more to love or a big guy or husky or obese or overweight. Just say fat.
Thank you for being here. Now, Aubrey, this is your story, basically. We get to see your story. And Jeanie, you're the documentarian behind this to kind of put it all together. So let's talk about what the story is first. You were an anonymous blogger, eventually turned into a best-selling author. But as this anonymous blogger, you were really kind of stripping down our fat phobia, basically, in our culture. So let's talk about how that sort of launched to share your voice in this anonymous way.
I think the work started for me in a pretty earnest way. I wrote a letter to a thin friend of mine about sort of the ways that we weren't really seeing eye to eye on our own experiences of our own bodies because we lived really different experiences, and that was really hard for her to sort of grasp. The issues that I face are not just body image, as many thin people experience, but also things like doctors refusing to treat you or airlines refusing to seat you.
I found that really powerful in the documentary. Things that you don't think about, the day-to-day struggles that you go through that other people don't see.
Yeah, absolutely. I am fortunate to be able to afford exercise equipment. So I have exercise equipment at home because I won't go to a gym because when I do, people take my picture and post it online. Really sort of casually awful behavior that, in addition to folks not really recognizing that fat people experience that, I think it's something that folks do without really thinking about. Oh, there's another person on the other end of it, right?
I had a woman take a melon out of my cart and she went, "It's got too much sugar for you." It's a melon.
So Jeanie, let's talk a bit about your history in the space of documentary filmmaking. Seahorse, and obviously The Last Watch, a documentary about the last season of Game of Thrones. So this genre is very much what you're in tune with. Did you reach out to Aubrey? Like, how did you know her story? Like, she was anonymous at the time. Like, how did this all kind of come together?
I wanted to make a film about fatness and what that means. It's a 3-letter word, but it's a completely powerful word. It's a word I've heard all my life. And I noticed that online, we're talking 6 years ago, people were very openly talking about fatness in a different way. So it was something that I was sort of seeing a lot, and I thought, I'm not sure what my film's going to be, but I know that this is going to be the next film I'm going to make. I read Aubrey's first piece that she wrote, and it touched me. It felt emotion. And the fact that she was anonymous meant that we weren't distracted by conversations about, plus size fashion. It was more about, what does this feel like to be a person in the world? How does that mean that my interactions with the world are different? And that seemed like this is a different thing that I want to explore.
As a fat person, you figure out how to disappear yourself. That's the only way I have existed in the world.
I have to ask you, Aubrey, because this is your life story, something obviously that has a lot of layers to it and a vulnerability to share with the world. What was it about Jeanie that you felt you were going to be in good hands?
I was so accustomed to having conversations about my own experience as a fat person, where you would have to do this kind of tending to usually thin people, sort of working through their own feelings about their own body before they were able to be present for a conversation about what my experience was like as a fat person, right? And that didn't happen with Jeanie at all. She was just like on board with the conversation as it was from jump. And I think the other thing was watching her work. There are so many stories that she is able to tell in a way that is so, talking to a family member or a friend who really loves you and really wants you to understand something.
It was my responsibility. Her size was my responsibility.
With Aubrey's story, because it's like so much content, but you have to narrow it down into 90 minutes, a couple of hours. How do you make those choices? I'm just so curious about that.
You've just got to follow the thread of the story. What are the most powerful things when you look back? I've worked with an absolutely extraordinary editor, Alice Powell. We've worked together on a lot of films. So, for example, when we made Game of Thrones The Last Watch, we shot 900 hours for like a 110-minute film. And so it's part of the process. You just throw yourself into it. You swim in it. You immerse yourself in it. It's a joy. I mean, I love all parts of the process, but the edit it's really fun because that's where you write the film.
Rather than thinking, boy, I wish that person would put in some effort, thinking, that person may have put in a great deal of effort. And that might have been what got them here.
And now this has been 6 years in the making, and now that it's hit the big screen at the Tribeca Film Festival, now seeing it from this perspective, what would you want audiences to really take away when watching this documentary?
My hope is that folks get more curious about the experiences of fat folks and get more curious about how they can better show up for fat folks in their lives, right?
One of the prompts for me to make this was to make the film that I wished I'd been able to see when I was 13. Because I think that the stories that we tell ourselves and our family members about our bodies are very powerful.
I took more from how you looked at yourself than how you looked at me.
But I think that's how it gets passed along.
Congratulations to both of you for this incredible, inspiring, and extremely powerful documentary. Check it out, everybody. Part of this year's Tribeca Film Festival, Your Fat Friend.
You will learn, get angry, and have a good time.
Follow me on social media at Melissa DiMarco for more exclusive content. I'll see you guys out there.